Hello there, I am ABC 10 meteorologist Rob Cromark here with a live update on our streaming channel. Now, just for some housekeeping here, if you're watching this on your mobile phone, we also have an app available on streaming TVs, also on Roku and Amazon Fire. So if that's a better method to see all of this information, you can go there. If you're watching this on our streaming channel on a smart TV and you're on the go, you can always get these updates on our mobile app. You just download it from any of the platforms. This way, wherever you are, that's where we're going to be. And also, this is live. The reason why we're doing this live in between the updates that you've been watching through the graphics is that this is important, and this is information that we're going to update periodically. Later on today at 1 p.m., Brendan Minchef is going to have an update. Then at 3 p.m., he is also going to have another update. So it's one thing looking at the graphics, but if you want to understand what they all mean, that's what we are literally here for you. So let's take you through this. Again, it's 10:02 on Friday morning, and there's a lot of things happening through the course of today and going into the beginning of next week. This is officially an atmospheric river that we've talked about a lot. Now, if you're in Sacramento or Stockton, Modesto, we've seen a little bit of rain. Certainly south of Sacramento, there's been a little bit of rain. It has not been a big deal at all because this atmospheric river, which is this narrow band of moisture, has mostly been off to the north, I-80 off to the north. And yesterday, essentially all day long, it was really off to the north. Well, it's nailing us today. Then it will drift down away from us. But we have to watch all this moisture as it really lingers around our area through Monday, Tuesday. Then if you're worried about Thanksgiving travel, when it goes dry like this, these dark colors, that moisture is way off the coast. Wednesday, Thursday, and I believe Friday at this point, this is going to change. We are looking at better travel conditions because we're going to be drying out across California again for Wednesday, Thanksgiving Day, which is Thursday, and then on Friday. This is for next week. Just to explain what this is, usually a system will come in out of the Pacific. It sweeps across our area. You get rain, you get wind, you get snow, then it's out of here, and then it's the Rockies and the Midwest. Now, this one's different. This one is a huge area of low pressure that's found a lot of moisture, and then it's stuck. So it's able to pull in all this deep tropical moisture. Another nickname for this is the Pineapple Express because, as you can see, the subtropics roughly originate down by Hawaii, and then it pulls it in. Now, there's different kinds of atmospheric rivers. Sometimes they go over the top, and those are really cold ones with a lot of snow. But this one has been warmer, and yesterday, what we saw is a lot of warm air get pulled in. That's why the snow levels have been higher, and then they're going to drop later on today. It literally is a river. It carries almost 10 times or more the amount of water that is in the Mississippi River. It says water vapor, but once it hits the coast, once it hits the valley spots in the mountains, it gets wrung out, and then you can really get a lot of rain. In fact, some of our biggest events here in California related to rain and flooding have been connected to atmospheric rivers. And the reason why is because over days, if it's parked, you can get a lot of rain. For the coastal mountains, this is really a huge amount of rain, and no surprise, they're dealing with some flooding issues for some creeks, streams, and even some rivers now. 12 to 20 inches of rain so far. Shasta at the dam, more than 10 inches of rain. In Redding, by the way, they average a little more than 30 inches of rain, so you can tell just by the dam. You know, we're talking about 25% of the yearly amount of rain so far for some of these areas. And then the rain totals really drop once you get south of where that line of the main moisture has been. But that changes today. The heaviest rain is going to be moving through today. Of this entire event, really, this is our day in our local area. And I'm talking about Bay Area, Sacramento, off to Roseville, Rockland, even Stockton and Modesto. Really in our local area for the people that watch our normal TV channel, this is going to be our heaviest rain because that atmospheric river, the main line, has been dropping to the south. And we're talking about heavy valley rain, really tough driving conditions. There is some wind mixed in here, but it's not as strong as a lot of these events. The Sierra snow, which has seen a big upfront amount of snow, then rain mixed in through today. Once the sun goes down tonight, it's really going to pile up through Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And driving around, folks, it doesn't seem like driving is a dangerous thing. Trust me, on any given day, secretly, it is one of the most dangerous things that you do. You throw in bad weather, and it gets worse. Now, temperature-wise, again, this is live at 10:06 in the morning. If you're watching this later, these are the temperatures at the time. 50s down low and the 40s and 50s up high. When it's 50 degrees in South Lake Tahoe, obviously something is going on, and that's that warm air that we pulled in yesterday. It's still waiting for the cold air that this system, as it moves to the south, is going to pull in on the back end. Now, today for your big mountain backyard forecast, obviously you see the drips on the camera there. We are well and truly into the middle of this rain for the Sacramento metro area. Temperatures are really a non-story, 54, 55, 56. It's roughly the same temperature all day long. Notice what else is very consistent through the day. Rain from the morning all the way through the evening. Sun goes down about right here. Then it's going to continue to rain into the evening. Now, it's not going to rain for its entirety all the way through the next 4 or 5 days. There is going to be a big break, and I'll talk about that in a second. Now, one of the things that's going to be interesting here is that for the highs, the 40s and 50s, we might be hitting those highs today, as in right now, in the middle of the day. Then we're really going to watch those temperatures tank as this cold air gets pulled in. A mixture of 60s or so. The farther south you get, you're going to see some of those warmer temperatures. But really, the story is this. 50s for most of us, rain all day long, and every hour that it rains, remember, the ground gets more saturated, which means that there's more water into it. And then you get more runoff, which means the water's got nowhere to go. So then you start seeing more water on the roads, in the gutters, and then you start to see more impacts for localized street flooding and so on. Now, here's our parent low, which is what we call this huge main area of low pressure. And then it's got these outer lobes. So here's one that's taken shape, moved off to the north just a little bit, but pulling that moisture across our local area. Here's another one developing on the back end of this. This is why this has been just going on for so long, because the pressure areas, as I showed you right off the top, have not really moved all that much. Now, as they move a little bit, that really sort of directs where the fire hose of moisture is going to be. And right now, it's in our local area. So this is going to be a lot of heavy rain, consistent, hour by hour. It just keeps going on and on and on. This is bad for the middle of the day driving. This is bad for the evening commute, which is going to be officially a very hot mess. I would avoid traveling at all during that evening commute. Sometimes you can't because you need to get home. I would take surface streets. I would take it easy. I would find some way to put yourself in a better position driving, because this is not business as usual. And you can see out toward the coast, lots more rain potential. There'll be times where it eases up a little bit, then it'll get heavy. And then also just watch that snow line. These are the mountain passes. We've got 80 right here, which is starting to see some snow at 7,000 feet. We also have 50 a little bit there, and then this will continue marching down to the south. There is plenty of time on this. And as we go through, you're going to see all sorts of weather advisories, watches, warnings. I would say the big ones here are this. Red flag warning for windy conditions on the east side of the Sierra as this moves through. Once you get over toward the Sierra, we're talking about from 5,000 feet on up in general, winter storm conditions from this afternoon all the way through Tuesday, because again, that cold air is getting drawn in. So I could fast forward this. Now we're in the 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Is anything changing? Really? Not really. There's that commute home. I don't want to be on the roads at that time. Again, maybe you have to be, but just be prepared. This is going to slow everybody down. There's going to be problems. It happens on a sunny day. Imagine what's going to happen with this. And then also the snow level keeps starting to move down the hill as we get colder and colder air. Now it's late at night. You're likely going to bed. I would worry, or you're already in bed. I would worry about this here on the east side of the valley. And also when the winds kick in. This is when the ground is saturated. Things are soft. You get a gust of wind. Branches or trees themselves could come down. That's power outages. That's damage time. Watch out for late Friday night, which is tonight, and then very early on Saturday. Then we're in the thick of it. Saturday morning, yes, chain controls. If not, momentary closures. Just depends on the visibility, among other things. And then we're going to start to see a bit of a lull for the valley spots. It doesn't mean that we're done. Later on tomorrow morning on Saturday, we'll get one more round of this that's fairly organized and somewhat steady. It's starting to break up a little bit. And then by late in the afternoon, it will start to clear. So, you know, that clearing time is very important when you can do things, because you're trying to plan things. And if you can get a gap in the middle of a very rainy pattern, it's very valuable. I would just say right around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning is probably the earliest that it could clear. And then noon, 2, 3, 4, it gets a little bit better odds-wise. Then we're looking at some clouds in the overnight, but it doesn't mean that we're done. We get another reinforcing shot of all this weather Sunday to Monday and part of Tuesday. So I would just focus on weather having impacts to you. Rain, snow, could see some momentary flooding from clogged drains, and then also some creeks and streams are continuing to come up in certain locations, mostly north of our area, but you got to keep an eye on it. Just for the next immediate round of weather, we're looking at least a couple inches of valley rain through about Sunday or so. Then we're going to add in more to Monday, Tuesday. By the way, this is one of the lower estimates. If you look at a different computer model, we're actually looking at more like 3 to 4 inches of rain. So we're going to have to take each wave as it comes. focus on the totality of the event. And here's one of the big ways to look at all of the water coming in. It's got to go somewhere. This is how much of a change aiming an atmospheric river at Northern California for 3-4 days, if not more, is going to do for all of the water moving around. Take the Sacramento River as it's closest to downtown. As of today, it's right around 7 feet. By the time we get into the beginning of next week, we're looking at 17 feet. Now notice this is all below any sort of various stages of watching for flooding and then getting to actual flood stages. But it's going to come up at least 10 feet. So there's just a lot of water coming in and a lot of water going out, but it takes time. I would take this snow model, the snow forecast with a little bit of a grain of salt because there's a lot of microclimates mixed in here. But bottom line, we're looking at least a couple feet of snow for the crest, probably more for the resorts, and then even a little bit on the east side. This has now bumped up the opening for many ski resorts, so this is good for getting up there and having fun. Remember, the traveling, getting there and back is going to be very problematic, but at any rate, Mammoth open, Mount Rose, Heavenly, North Star, Sugar Bowl, Palisades, Tahoe, and Boreal all opening as of today, and then many more as we get into Thanksgiving and the days after that. So let's look at this again in totality. You know we've got a lot of active weather today, a bit of a lull tomorrow afternoon, which is Saturday, maybe a little bit on Sunday, to be honest with you, and then Sunday to Monday, another round that lingers into Tuesday. If you're worried about Thanksgiving travel, the timing on this at this point looks pretty good because we hit a nice dry streak beginning on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. We should have dry weather on Thanksgiving, by the way, for all of California, helpful with so much travel going on, again on Friday and perhaps even the weekend after. But watch those days closely. I know this for sure. The next 5 days are still busy.